Good evening, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Fort Wayne Community School Board of Trustees. As we do each meeting, we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And roll call of members. Steve, would you like to begin?
Good evening, Steve Corona from the 5th District.
Good evening, Glenna Yale, 2nd District.
Tom Smith, 3rd District.
Maria Norman, Member at Large.
Ann Duff, Member at Large.
Jordan Lebemoff, the 4th District.
And I'm Julie Hollingsworth, elected from District 1. And to my far left is Janet Doherty, the Clerk of the Board. Good evening. And next to her, our Superintendent, Dr. Wendy Robinson.
Good evening.
Good evening. So this is one of the most exciting meetings of the year for us. We had a reception for all of our scholarship recipients and their parents and family members upstairs earlier. So we will begin with that. The board would like to recognize the Fort Wayne Community Schools scholarship recipients. 25 Fort Wayne Community School high school seniors were recently awarded scholarships by the Fort Wayne Community School Scholarship Committee. The committee is permanently chaired by Matt Henry. Other committee members are selected by each of the Fort Wayne Community School board members. This year, the committee awarded the Charles Baker, Charles and Joseph Biedenwig, John and Marianne Chapman, the Lee family, the Bill Anthus, the Casey Harder, Alice McPherson, Shanaz Ship Chandler, Grace Hogan, John Young, and Carolyn Zwick scholarships. Students who receive these scholarships must be Fort Wayne Community School seniors who displayed financial need, scholarship, leadership, and initiative during their high school years. Awards range from $500 to $24,000. And Matt Henry, the chair of the committee, could not be with us tonight, but Nita Auer, a member of the committee, assisted by Michelle Bandor, a member of the committee. And we would like to just thank you for your volunteer work and the hours that you and your colleagues put in, which in what I know has to be a difficult process to sift through all of the applicants. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And go ahead, Nita.
Just to reiterate, Fort Wayne Community Schools Scholarship Committee recently selected 25 seniors to receive these academic scholarships and awarded over $185,000 in scholarships. Wow. Students are screened on financial need, scholarship, leadership, and initiative displayed during their high school years. Awards range from a one-time award of $1,500 to $6,000 over a 4-year period. This evening, we would like to recognize our winners. And by the way, after going through all of the applications, I feel like I know these winners very well. They don't know me, but I sure know them. The Charles Baker Scholarship winner is Wayne High School student Lachey Hill. Lachey will be attending Indiana University Bloomington to pursue a degree in exercise science.
Congratulations.
The Clarence and Josephine Biedenwig scholarship winners are Jay Pettit, a Northside High School senior who will study music education at Ball State University. And Miranda Bradley, a Northside High School senior who plans to attend Purdue University Fort Wayne and major in art education. She was unable to join us this evening. And parents, feel free to come up and get some pictures, as Dr. Robinson said.
Don't rush.
It's been, what, 13 years? Don't rush.
The winners of the John and Mary Chapman Scholarship for Northside High School students going into the medical field are Lauren Beatty, who will be attending Ball State and studying physical therapy with a biomechanical focus. Nin Chin is planning to study biology at Indiana University in Bloomington. Na Sardo will be studying physics at Indiana University in Bloomington. And Escobar Tatum is attending Indiana University in Bloomington to study pre-med.
Parent photos.
Any parents?
Anyone else?
You want individual, they can spread out. It's up to you.
Okay.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Get 'em?
The winners of the Lee Family Scholarship for Northside High School are Carol Galicia is planning to attend the University of St. Francis to major in biology with a pre-med track. And Na Sardo will be studying physics at Indiana University in Bloomington.
Don't move.
We still
Got
have
one more.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations.
The Anthus Scholarship winner is Allison Waite, a Northrop High School senior. She will attend the University of Indianapolis to study chemistry with a pre-pharmacy track. Okay, congratulations. The Casey Harder Scholarship winner is Snyder High School senior Marcy Wallace. She will be attending Purdue University to study elementary education.
Yeah.
Get her name and address.
Yes. The Alice McPherson Scholarship winner is Northside High School senior Samantha Hall. She will be attending Purdue University to study engineering.
Congratulations.
The Ship Chandler Scholarship winner is Alexis Gonzalez, a Northrop High School senior. She will attend Indiana University in Bloomington and have a dual major in human biology and global health services. She was unable to join us this evening. The Grace Hogan Scholarship winners are Donovan Bowers, a Northrop High School senior. He plans to attend Indiana University in Bloomington to study business in the Kelley School of Business.
Hey, hey.
And Catherine Hart, a Southside High School senior. She plans to study biology at Indiana University in Bloomington.
You return.
And Dolores Juarez, a Southside High School senior. She plans to attend the Emory University and study chemistry with a pre-med track.
In the middle, so you can be, there you go. To orchestrate all of this.
And Chloe Kersey is a Southside High School senior. She plans to attend Hillsdale College and pursue a degree in political science.
Oh, wait, Mom's trying to get Chloe.
Okay, thank you. The John Young Scholarship winners are Hannah Black, a Snyder High School senior. She plans to earn a degree in nursing from the University of St. Francis. And Madison Jeber, a Northrop High School senior. She plans to attend Indiana University, Purdue University in Indianapolis to pursue a dual major in Spanish and health. And Jenna Habish, a Snyder senior. She plans to attend Ball State University to study real estate investment and business. And Rebecca Lane, a Snyder High School senior. She plans to earn a degree in biology from the University of St. Francis. She was unable to join us this evening. Anna Meinzen, a Snyder High School senior. She will be attending the University of Pittsburgh to study microbiology. Andrew Rhodes, a Wayne High School senior. He plans to study exercise science at Indiana University in Bloomington. He was unable to join us this evening. And Garrett Spoolhoff, a Northside High School senior. He plans to attend the Jacobs School of Music in Bloomington at Indiana University to study jazz, piano, and audio engineering. Okay, thank you.
Congratulations.
The Carolyn Zwick Scholarship winner is Angela Mamani, a Southside High School senior. She plans to study linguistics at Brigham Young University.
Oh, wait, come back.
thank you to all the parents and the scholarship recipients. It was a pleasure finding out about your child, believe me.
So congratulations, parents, family members, siblings, grandparents, et cetera. I'm, as someone who's imminently going to be on Medicare, I'm glad to see so many of our young people going into pre-med, pre-farm, nursing. That makes me feel a lot better. Whew. So you are excused. Enjoy your celebration.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
Well done. While they're exiting, Ms. Zauer, Kathy Friend and Faye Robbins, along with Kathy Carr and several others, we are starting an alumni association, a citywide alumni association.
Really?
And if you notice, a lot of the scholarships were for people who had worked in the district or were related in some way to people in the district. So I'm going to make sure that you stay connected with them, because we can have other alums who want to start scholarships. So they are starting that process. Faye Robbins is the one to get in touch with. It's not too early to ask for more money.
We can be charter members.
Yes.
Nita had one additional question. How many total number of scholarship applications did the committee get?
Jessica would be there. This year, I believe there were a little over 200, or more than usual, and if you would see the thick packet that each person has to fill out, it was, you know, we had several screenings, and we had more this year than what we usually do. So I know it was over 200.
Wow.
So.
Well, thank you again
Thank you
for
so much.
volunteering your time to
Thank
do
you.
that. We appreciate it.
Thank you
Both of you. And Michelle, too. Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is to recognize the senior members of the Superintendent Student Advisory Council. The Superintendent Student Advisory Council was created in the 2004 school year to increase communication between the superintendent and students in the district. The council includes students from the district's 5 high schools and the Fort Wayne Community School Career Academy at Anthus. The council's mission is to provide the superintendent with the student perspective and empower fellow students to improve the schools and community. They have participated in several activities this school year, including volunteering at the showcase. This year's council was particularly effective in providing feedback and input to the superintendent. So tonight we recognize the senior members of this prestigious group. Please come forward as your name is read. From Northside High School, Sen Nu.
I need some help here. Oh, Jennifer's not here and Tim is neither. So Faye, you have just been elected. And yet you are my... There's Jennifer here. All right, I'll turn this around like this so people can know.
From Northrop High School, Rebecca Abate. From Snyder High School, Jenna Habish.
Turn around to her father. She knows better.
Thank you.
From Southside High School, Sarah Norwald.
Shoot fast, because I can't do this well anyway.
From Wayne High School, Christopher Conley.
Did you bring a book? What are you reading now?
Oh, that's a long story.
We brought a book to every advisory council.
Oh, yeah?
Usually way more than I did.
From Wayne Newtek, July Ung.
You're not gonna get much help.
From the Career Academy at Anthus, Adrian Nino. And from the Career Academy at Anthus, Nita Despina Vaslinova Vasevska. Okay, a group picture? Scoot in. Notice there was no pronunciation guide. That's one.
You did.
Yeah, how do you know?
That was great.
It sounded perfect.
You did well.
Hold on.
Huh?
You did well.
Did I? Okay.
This is a support group for this group, and we never, ever,
That was
in this
always
meeting, we have every
a
single
stressful
meeting.
day, the first day of school. Read off, roll, and I mean, if I mispronounce your name, don't take it personally. First time I've seen you.
If I could just.
And I should, you want also for me to mention all your advisors?
Yes, please.
Okay. And we also want to mention advisors D. Faye Williams Robbins, Sheila Menz, Melanie Hall, Krista Stockman, Get Nichols, Tim Rail, Jennifer Mabel, Bev Metzger, and then Jacqueline Smith.
Over closer. This group, I was advised the first year when I started this group not to do it. The superintendent said, and I did it anyway. And one of the things that we believe in this district, if you really want to know what's happening, ask the students. This year, one of the highlights, although we've had several, these students talked to legislators about the pathway and about the changes that were being made and what the state has decided they need to be doing. There's not a single initiative they haven't weighed in on. From the changing of the schedule, from the curriculum work, a lot of times they are harder on us than we would be in terms of what we think ought to happen. So for everybody who's worried about the next generation, not only healthcare and business and everything else, what I love about this group is, first of all, they're not ever timid about speaking their mind. They're not ever timid about disagreeing and telling us the truth. And what I have to do sometimes is tell folks in central office, no, you can't come this time. Because when we meet, everybody wants to be there because the kind of conversations, David's everybody, we facilitated meetings. So as long as I'm breathing, this is a thing that I even suggest to other superintendents to do. If you notice, they're just, it's amazing to me what's happened in 4 years. They've gone from very shy people who didn't open their mouths much to now I have to say, do you mind if I say something? So I just want everybody to see them. And I've got 20 more just like them coming up. So
Can I ask them a question?
you can ask them anything.
Just
That's why
wanted
I
to
made them
know,
stay here.
what do you think about your experience? So you were in it for 4 years. Can you tell us a little bit about what you learned or how it made you grow?
Oh, come on.
I guess I'll go first. When I first came in here, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to meet the superintendent. I'm going to have to eat pizza with her. What am I going to do? But now I've learned I've met a lot of other people from different schools that I never thought that I would ever meet, and I'm pretty good friends with a lot of them. And I've gotten to get a broader picture of what this district's about, the way that we're trying to move things, the way that we think, the way that state legislators think. It's just giving me a broader view of I'm just a student, but I've felt like I've made a small difference here, what I can do. Yeah, it's just been cool.
Good. Do you have any advice for other students? Like,
If you get the
Freshmen?
chance to eat pizza with Dr. Robinson, I would say do it.
Well, I've said this several times, but It was such an opportunity to be able to work with the superintendent. She is such an amazing person. I honestly love you so much. And not only was it a great opportunity for us to speak for our personal experience, but it was an opportunity to represent everyone else who doesn't have a voice in my school, so that I feel like I am making a difference, because it's not just my voice that's heard, but I get to represent everyone else who may think that they're forgotten, because she cares. I know everyone cares, and I get to remind all the students that after we have meetings that, hey, like, your input matters, and like what you think, we want to know about it. And I guess my advice would be that you should really take advantage of high school, because it went by really fast.
Charles. Christopher, extend
To be honest, I just valued the ability to say what I needed to say, to give my input to the community. And the only advice I can give is, don't be afraid of the future. Embrace it.
Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me? Okay. Well, I came here I didn't become a member until my junior year, because a member, I think she got removed or something. But this experience, it's made me, you know, open up to newer ideas, and I've gained a lot of knowledge from this. And I've also learned that Pizza King is a good place.
Well, for me, honestly, when I first got here, I was like a shy kid. But from like experiencing new things and from this group, I was able to get out of my comfort zone and like put my voice in it to be able to be helpful to the others. Thank you.
Thank you. See?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Dr. Robinson, can I just say, it was wise of you to ignore some of the advice you got not to do it. And I think that's a mark of a great leader, that is not afraid to hear differing and others' opinions.
They matter.
So,
and they know that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sacrificing and eating all that pizza. Good luck to you.
We used to have Subway, and it was too healthy. So we just gave up on it, and we just do Pizza King.
Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is the exciting consent agenda. And that includes the approval of the minutes from our last meeting on April 23rd. And board members have had that to review. It includes vouchers and payroll, vouchers for the period ending May 7th, 2018, and those are kept on file for like 7 years if anybody wants to peruse them. And then payroll reports for the period ending April 13th. And then there is also the personnel report. And Dr. Robinson, was there anything on the personnel report you wanted to mention or highlight? Okay.
Madam Chair, I'd move approval of the 3 items listed under the consent agenda.
Second.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Tom. All those in favor of approval signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. So now, we don't have any old business. New business, we have the Title I Part A Basic and Neglected Grant. It's recommended that the board approve the application for and acceptance of the Title I Part A Basic and Neglected Grant for the 2017-18 school year from the Indiana Department of Education in the amount of $11,809,668.43. Title I is a federally funded program designed to enable schools with high concentrations of low-income students to provide opportunities for children to acquire the knowledge and skills in the state content areas and to meet state performance standards for all children. Eligibility for Title I services is based on criteria related to family income. Fort Wayne Community Schools determines target areas based on numbers of students receiving free or reduced lunch and or direct certified for government benefits. These services impact 23 Fort Wayne Community schools that have Title I services, 17 Fort Wayne Community schools that have Title I pre-K programs, 26 non-public schools that receive funds from the 17-18 Title I grant, students who receive free or reduced lunch, and live in a Fort Wayne Community School Title I school attendance area, but attend non-public schools, are provided instruction through a resource teacher, tutor, an instructional assistant, or a service provider. And also, homeless Fort Wayne Community School students and 2 institutions for neglected children receive supplemental education services. This grant is managed by Kimberly Brooks, Title I manager, and supports our District Goal 1, achieve and maintain academic excellence. Also, District Goal 2, engage parents and the community, and District Goal 3, operate effectively with integrity and fiscal responsibility. And questions can be answered by Kimberly Brooks. Do we have a motion and a second?
So move.
Second.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Glenna. Any questions?
Is Kimberly here?
I'm sorry?
Is Kimberly
Yes.
here?
Yes.
Okay. Do you mind? Just a quick question. I know that we have a large district, and as a result, we also do have a number of homeless students that we provide services and support to. How many homeless children are touched by this grant?
I don't have the exact number with me, but we work in conjunction with the staff at the FACE Center, Wendy Mooring, the district homeless liaison, to provide additional support along with the McKinney-Vento grant. I believe the last time I knew, the number was about 800 something number of students, elementary through high school.
Okay, but that's just in our within our school district?
Correct.
Okay.
She's right. Our numbers continue to increase, and we're up over 800 as we were last year. And Wendy Horing is a person at FACE Center that works with the families that we call families in transition.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thanks, Kimberly. Okay, all those in favor of approval signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next, we have the Title I Part D Delinquent Grant. It's recommended that the board approve the application for and acceptance of the Title I Part D Delinquent Grant for the 17-18 school year in the amount of $173,448.46 from the Indiana Department of Education. The Allen County Juvenile Center, Lifeline Youth and Family, and Redwoods Delinquent Institutions receive funds through the Title I Part D Delinquent Grant to support instruction and transitional services for clients or students. Instruction is designed to sustain academic growth during residency and to close the achievement gap. Both credit coursework and/or tutorial services are available. This grant is managed by Kimberly Brooks, the Title I manager, and supports all 3 of our goals. And any questions can be addressed to Kimberly. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, Maria. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor of approval signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next, we have the Agile Mind Education Holdings, Inc. agreement. It's recommended that the board approve an agreement with Agile Mind Educational Holdings, Inc. to purchase a digital teaching and learning system for math totaling $421,300. The Agile Mind Accelerator Bundle will provide intensive math supports to prepare students for an accelerated pathway. The Agile Accelerator will supplement current curriculum to identify and address gaps and to increase mastery of standards for all middle school math students and students enrolled in Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry. The agreement includes ongoing intensive professional learning for coaches and teachers and the development of a customized assessment assigned to Indiana standards. The term of the contract begins this spring of 2018, and continues through the end of the 2019-20 school year. Agile Mind is the sole source provider for this teaching and learning system. This initiative is focused on improving student achievement and educator effectiveness, and supports District Goal 1, achieve and maintain academic excellence. The cost of the agreement will be paid from the general fund, and questions can be answered by Jennifer Mabel, the secondary level director. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Maria. Thanks, Tom.
I have some questions for Jennifer.
Yeah. So Jennifer, questions?
She's now in her role as curriculum director.
Jennifer, I'm not too sure I understand what this is. What type of program is it? How's it implemented?
So it's a computer-based program, and it's implemented in the classroom. It can be either teacher-led. The goal is to have students be working with their computers in front of them collaboratively, either with a partner or in small groups, to work through the problems. Basically, we want them to start with procedural and move to conceptual understanding.
Okay, would this be something that would be employed for the entire classroom, or perhaps just a smaller group of students that may be struggling with a particular concept?
It can be both. Right now, with the intensive math instruction that's happening, it's in all of our classrooms, 6 through 8, and even some 5th grade classrooms are using it. And then in the fall, it can be either class-wide, it can be in small groups, it can also accelerate students. So in the fall, teachers will have access to grades 6 through 8, Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry, and they can differentiate based upon needs of students.
And this is a software program?
Correct.
So it would be used with our current existing computer equipment within the classroom?
Yes.
And I'm assuming that it would be district-wide?
Yes.
In implementation?
Yes, at the secondary level, yes.
And is there a way for parents to be informed of their students' progress through this program?
Right now, we don't have access to the parent piece, but teachers have access and can run reports. We ran a usage report today just to see how they're only in day 5 of implementation with it.
So long as the particular math teacher is willing and able, is this the type of program that can be utilized after class for that student that's having difficulty with mathematics?
Yes, they can log in from home, and teachers can assign specific assignments and skills for them to work on.
How are we going to notify the parents that the child can log in from home? Because my kid would never tell me.
We can work on a communication plan for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think right now, one of the reasons we are bringing this tonight is because of the math intensive. We told you that we were going to be making sure that through the end of the year we had something consistent. But I want us to start also thinking that when we bring things, it's not just for the remediation portion. The other half of this is pushing kids who have skills at a lower level that heretofore, it's because we had a textbook or we didn't have a teacher. But if you've got a 6th grader who can do geometry, we've got to figure out ways that those kids can be accelerated. So right now, the real use right now is just to reduce some of the nervousness about everybody's taking algebra and having teachers and kids get used to the resources. But all those questions about the parent use, the other night at the PTA, that was one of the main things parents wanted to know. We don't know how necessarily to help, and how are we going to know? So give us a little time just to work through the end of the year. We're going to be working with this next year. But parents have said loud and clear that they really need to have an understanding of where this is going, and that'll be a part of as we start next year. But this is really right now just trying to get us through the end of the year to make sure everybody's comfortable with what we meant by the skills needed for the work for next year. That's really the focus right now, the teachers and the kids.
And then where else has this curriculum been implemented where they've seen the acceleration and the help?
Well, I can't give you a specific. I'll have to get back with you on that. I know that as we worked with Dana Center and Centerpoint, this is one of the supplementals that they encouraged us to look at and review, and it is going to be embedded in our scope and sequence. But I can get back with you on that, Glenna. Mm-hmm. It's not brand new. No. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that when we get back with you, I'm learning a lot more about Doug Savi. Doug is instrumental. He's on the committee that I'm going to for the transition piece for the state. So the state of Indiana kind of relies on him. And so a lot of this work, we can get you some of the other states and other districts that have done it. But he has done lots of work with not only the state of Indiana, but other states, and we'll give you that.
So what about the assessments? It says that there's going to be a development also of an assessment of those. Formative, summative, because it's my understanding that we don't have formative assessments right now.
Correct. They can be both in this program. So part of what we have done in the scope and sequence looking at for next year, depending upon what unit they're in, some of the summatives can come right out of Agile Minor. They can come out of their Big Ideas math textbook. But then there's also some formative assessments that can be implemented through the software, and teachers can go in and self-create as well. There's a bank of items for them to choose from that are directly aligned to the state standards.
Our problem right now is we're supposed to get a big reveal from the state May 15th. And they're supposed to let us know what I learn is supposed to look like and where they're heading with the formative and summative, but we don't know. So we're keeping our eye on that. But right now, we're just trying to use programs like this that teachers can use to determine how to change instruction. We don't want to get too far down the road picking something, and then the state takes a 180 and we've got something that doesn't align with what they're doing. So hopefully after May 15th, Tracy's working with the state too, and Tracy now is working through the assessment pieces. So we'll try to come back with and answer that question after the state lands somewhere. So
just looking at their website, I see that they also offer programs in pre-calc and AP Calc and AP Stat. Is that outside the scope of what we purchased from them?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
For right now.
And is this something that any of us could try out somewhere?
I have some dummy accounts, so to speak, some playground areas that you can go in and check it out.
I'd be interested in a dummy account.
Okay, I'll get you one.
Okay, awesome. Not me.
We'll just get it to all of you.
Yeah.
Because I think the thing is, as we move down the road, we have to be careful. This isn't our permanent solution. It may end up being that, but right now we're just trying to figure out how we're going to get people ready for the fall. And knowing that we're writing math and language arts curriculum this summer, so we don't want to get too far ahead of that process, but we can't afford to wait either. And we don't have any idea at this point where the state's heading. So we're trying to stay in line with standards. We're trying to ramp up and have resources for teachers and for kids. But I think this is something you can look at and play around with. And then we got also, as I said before, the parents and the PTA want to kind of know too. So you'll be the first wave, and then we'll figure out how we get this information out.
Is that what we're planning to do, is to share at PTA meetings with parents?
We, when was it, Faye? Last week?
We had...
Ann was there and Maria was there.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
last Monday.
Yeah, and what we're trying to do is to get camera-ready things for them, but we also want the principals, so we're trying to figure out all the different avenues to get this information out, but the PTA they're going to be our main source, and then we'll figure out all the other ways we have to do that. We also probably need to do another report at the board. It won't be next time because we're going to have a whole lot of kids. But at one of our board meetings, after we do the recognitions, we'll just come back and talk about all this out loud again.
Didn't the state used to provide funding for formative assessments?
Tracy, they still do?
They still do.
Oh, they still do?
Yes. However, we're looking to identify something that will be closely associated to the new iLearn assessment.
Right.
So that information, we should get that information, like she said, May 15th, we should have some indication on what iLearn will look like in the fall, so then we'll inform our decision around our formative assessments.
And the State Department of Ed has been extremely accommodating to us. Charity Flores is the assessment person, and she gave us some heads-up kind of information. The state was here this week looking at some of our Title I schools and supporting, so They are more than willing to kind of help us figure out what to do, but the state board really has the control at this point. And so until they make some decisions, we're just kind of being cautious. But there is some funding provided.
Yeah.
If this program's really successful, can it go on year after year, and is that another $400 and some thousand each year? What happens if you pay them $400 and some thousand for this next year or so, and that comes to an end, and this is very successful, then what?
So it's a 2-year contract that we have right now. So if we find success in it, then we can go back and talk with them about extending that contract.
One of the pieces that we talked about Rafi. And Rafi, anytime we're starting something like that, we're building in how we're going to measure that it would have the impact we had. So we'll be coming back and talking about what has been the impact. Now the problem's going to be, as always, when the state hasn't made a decision about what they're using to assess math skills and all of that. We were talking about that this week. How do you actually measure it when it's not a standardized test from the state? But we still are working on measures to make sure that if we're spending this kind of money and we're putting this in place across the district, how are we going to know the impact of it? So when we come back, we'll bring that all back and kind of talk about how we're going to try to do that.
And refresh my memory, iLearn starts next spring?
Next spring.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And we don't know
what's iLearn stand for?
What did I stand for?
Yeah.
It's I is Indiana.
Yeah, I is Indiana. Yeah.
Now, here's just a little thing. You know, the test bank questions, we own them, so it's just kind of ISTEP with another name.
It is.
Exactly.
So even though we know it's not going to be anything really different, until we kind of know, because in another couple of years, they're going to start testing computer skills. So, you know, we just got to figure out what are they going to hold kids accountable for so we can hope to get kids close to that. But it's still the same test questions.
Any other questions?
Well, just real quickly, so we're working with Dana Center and we're changing the curriculum so that our kids will be able to have the math skills that they need. But the beauty of this curriculum is that individuals are assessed to find out what areas they might need reinforcements in, the gaps that you talked about.
Yes, it can be for gaps, or it can also to accelerate. So if we have a student who's sitting in an Algebra 1 class but masters those standards, then that teacher has access to move that student on to Algebra 2 and even then into geometry. So it's going to do both. It'll be grade level appropriate, and then it can be those just-in-time gaps, or it can accelerate student learning.
So really, each of these students will have a beginning point, right? So
Yes.
you should be able to report back to us, this is where our students are at, and this is how many have progressed and how far,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And those that have accelerated, et cetera.
Correct.
Great, I look forward to that.
Anything else? Okay, thanks, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
Okay, all those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Just one more question. Jennifer, are you going to handle, or Tracy, the getting back to the board? Who's going to set that up, or
Yeah.
Jack? Yeah. Okay, so Jennifer will be the one to get with you.
Gotcha. Okay, and next, it's recommended that the board approve the purchase of a professional learning management system from Skillsoft of Nashua, New Hampshire for $117,071. In the spring of 2017, Fort Wayne Community Schools contracted with H Architect to assist in developing requirements for a professional learning management system for Fort Wayne Community School employees. This system will be used to develop, and track district professional learning activities. A request for proposals process was conducted with 5 vendors submitting proposals. After conducting in-depth evaluations of the proposals, Skillsoft system sum total was selected as the best value and was also the lowest cost. The initial purchase and implementation costs will be paid from the PURE grant. The subsequent annual maintenance fees of $43,124 will be paid from the Capital Projects Fund. Although, isn't that going away? Questions will be addressed by Ramona Coleman, Director of Professional Learning, and Jack Bird, Director of Technology. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Glenna. Thanks, Steve. So, any questions?
Is this both the, we're going to get both the content and the platform from this company?
Ramona, Jack, come up.
This comes.
Ramona.
She can't. She has to get up here too. This has both content and it has the platform, that what I call the container, that you can put other content into from other providers that we currently use. We can also develop our own content and put that in there as well.
Was that one of the attractive features, that you were able to take content from other providers or sources and use it into this?
Correct.
Container, I guess, as you're describing it?
Correct.
Okay.
So we've talked about, and I see Charles isn't here, but we've talked about a human capital management system, and we've talked about offering our own like micro-credentials to teachers and staff and administrators. So is this the platform that we're going to use for that? Do I understand that correctly?
Yes, this is the platform, the talent management system that we'll use with micro-credentialing. Start of that process is with us with our professional growth point system, where we already award teachers PGPs when they engage in professional learning. And then for us as a district to determine how many PGPs, what we want the micro-credentialing to look like for a specific area.
And when I earn PGPs, I eventually get what?
So basically for our professional growth points, again, one would be the micro-credentialing part that we're looking at, but also at the state level for licensure. So when we look at renewing our licensure for administrators or teachers, a 5-year licensure, it requires you to have 90 PGP points.
Okay.
And so for every hour of professional learning, you receive 1 PGP. And then for our teachers that's new to the district or administrators that's new to the district, it requires you to have 45 PGP points to renew for that 2-year licensure. So again, it's very important for us to avail the teachers professional learning to renew their licensure. And then again, just to build that capacity around leadership.
This company has the largest market share in this business, this sector?
I don't know the answer to that.
So, but we're, I guess, similar to the question Glenn asked earlier about another provider. Other school districts are using this company. Do we know everybody's happy?
We went out and visited the University of California because they were using the system. We talked to, was it the University? Yeah, Baltimore was using the system. So we talked to other agencies that were using this system.
And secondary school systems too?
Yes, secondary school systems, you mean K-12?
Like our district, I mean that.
There are other districts using it, but we talk to some of the larger customers.
Okay.
Some of the smaller districts, we like to talk to the larger customers because they tend to be more along, going to encounter the issues that we do.
Okay.
I have I have a question with regard to content. So the learning management system is basically a container that we're going to put content in so that our teachers can work at their own pace. Are we going to assign them things to do, or it's going to say, we're going to just say, this is our new system, there's 50 hours of PGP points in here, use it as you see fit, or how it fits into your schedule, or how are we going to encourage people to use this?
So basically, again, there will be a communication system with teachers for rolling out the system. And so there will be some availability for teachers to make choices as far as the content that's there. But there's also mandatory content that will be there for teachers when we look at state mandates or local mandates that we have. As far as in the areas of technology, there may be something specific that we want all teachers to engage in. When we think about legal or curriculum, even the work with Dana Center and Center Point, there's videos or other content that we're going to want teachers to engage in. And then there's a single login for all teachers. And so then it'll avail us as a district at the district level to see exactly what PL teachers are engaged in throughout the year.
And are you going to work with the teachers to get feedback with regard to content? So if they really enjoy a specific area, are you going to take suggestions or feedback with regard to what you're sticking in there?
So there is a feedback component that's included in the system also, that we can get feedback. And also for us, it really gives us that vision of having talent throughout the district. So when we look in our system, it gives us that picture where we can capture how many teachers we have in the district as far as math experts throughout the district based upon the content that they're engaged in.
I think one of the reasons that this is so critical, when Steve was asking the question about who else uses it, districts have to be of some size to even attempt this. Very few have their own human capital management university. But I think the other thing, to Maria's point, what we're hoping to get to is that as the state changes what teachers are expected to do, you can't always pull them out of the classroom. You can't always put them in a group because they may have different needs just like students do. But we've got to have resources that if it's about a certain standard that a teacher needs some support on, eventually that's what, when you ask if teachers are going to have input, part of that is them knowing they need support on this, and us having the ability to do that without a lot of expense or without them leaving their classroom. So this is just the ground floor. It's going to take a little while to get this together. But the other part, we need to come back and talk about that unified classroom, because what we're trying to do is to have all our systems talk. And so you've already approved a couple of the pieces of it. That's why Ramona and Jack had to stand together, because what ends up being in whatever this system is has to be something that teachers and others can use. There's even the piece about the communication with parents and students. So as we put these pieces together, we'll come back and talk about it, but we want them all to talk.
When do we anticipate this will be up and running for teachers and staff to use?
So the first phase will be more at the district level before we roll it out to teachers. Actually having someone within the professional learning department that will be over the implementation of that system. And so we're in the process of interviewing for that person right now. And so we're hoping by, Jack and I kind of go back and forth between the month, but we're looking at October for the district level leadership.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, all those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. So that brings us to the end of our meeting, since we have no reports. We do meet again a week from tonight, next Monday, for our student recognition meeting for all those student awards that we see at the end of the school year. So, board comments? Steve?
None.
Nothing.
Maria?
I just wanted to mention that it is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I have a first grader who meets all of the check boxes for a rambunctious first grader. So just remember to love on your teachers this week. Send them a nice card. And also just wanted to send a special thank you out to the PTAs who are organizing great things in our buildings for our teachers this week. I know they come up with really creative ideas, and I know that our staff in the buildings really appreciate all the things that they do for them. So thank you to the PTA, thank you to the teachers, and hope you guys enjoy your week.
Anything?
No comments.
Dr. Robinson?
I was going to also say about the teacher appreciation, I was trying to figure out with Krista, what do we say to people that work 24/7? If you ever go anywhere and there's a teacher anywhere in a building, you know who the teacher is because there are kids and parents trailing them. We can't thank them enough, and I don't think they hear all the things that they're not doing right. But we are blessed, and all the things that we are doing in this district wouldn't happen at all if we didn't have the teachers that we have. So Anita Auer taught here forever.
Oh, yeah.
And what I find absolutely fascinating is when they retire, they still come back. We have people who only sub in certain buildings because that's where they spent their life. So we are very, very fortunate, and I hope people can take the time. Chris and I are trying to think of things even to put on Facebook and on Twitter, just to encourage people to remind themselves to thank a teacher. Because I remember all the good teachers who got me where I am, so I appreciate that. The other is just understanding that we are doing the math intensive work. And so we're going to have some hit and misses, but it's really intended. We're not trying to measure right now the impact. We're just trying to get people calm to be able to manipulate the resources. So hopefully when you get your sign-ons and you kind of look at it, you can give us some conversation and feedback on it. But thank you. Just one last thing. I don't know how many of you knew Frances Ganaway. She passed. And Frances is a community person, a strong Rotarian. And the Rotary downtown adopted Washington, as you know. So just wanted to give my condolences to her family, because she was a very strong supporter of the Fort Wayne Community Schools. So just wanted to mention that. Like, I think Marie and Ann and you, yeah, we went on the Seeing is Believing tour last week and toured some of the ANTHUS programs. So I just want to thank Melanie Hall for organizing that. It was a great group, like 40 plus, that took the tour. We went to the Parkview Education Center, where our health careers programs are, and that's, wow, the teachers, of course, just raved about the facilities out there. Went to welding, which is really cool, and lots of welding jobs out there. I don't think any of those kids are going to have any problem if they are interested in that field. And interestingly enough, our tour guide, when went to the welding and the automotive together, was a young man who's been there since he was a sophomore. So he's done welding and 2 years of the auto program, I think. I think he said the only thing he hadn't done was collision. So, and he already has, I believe he already has an apprenticeship lined up. So he will be, he will already be working in his field of choice.
So the intent of the tour was to show to realtors what we're doing. I mean, what were the comments from them?
It's Melanie. Would you like to share some of the comments? I mean, there were there were a variety of people on the tour.
Yes, well, we try to get as many people as we can to attend every year. It is kind of difficult. So there were a variety of people on the tour. We did not have any realtors at this particular tour. We opened it up to some employees, especially some of the newer employees really enjoyed it because they're not familiar, and it will help them be able to tell others about the great things that we offer here. So.
You know, the most interesting thing, our bus driver used to be a teacher in the district. And he said that when he was growing up, all he ever wanted to be was a school bus driver. Like, wow,
yeah,
never heard that before. So he went from school bus driver and then just driving field trips and things. He said he had a teacher say to him, you know, you would be really good in the classroom. So he got his teaching license and spent 17 years in our elementary schools, and now he owns and drives, for charter bus tours. Really interesting.
Yep. Pat O'Brien is his name.
Okay, yeah. Interesting guy.
You should tell.
Thanks for doing that. What's that?
Of that? The story behind that
brochure? Oh, yes. And this is the program that each of us on the tour got, and this was designed by Gabriel Larson, who is a student in the graphic arts program at the Anthos Career Academy. And you know, he had to go through kind of an interview process to sell his product, and evidently this was not, they wanted something 8.5 by 11, and he sold them on the fact that he thought that this would be a lot better. So that was interesting too. So thanks to all the Anthos staff and to Larry Gerardo, the principal there, and Mary Larson. I still think it should be illegal for those two to retire at the same time. I can't believe we approved that, but.
I tried.
I know. So if I think it was in Sunday's Journal Gazette, and our own Ann Duff had a little op-ed about kind of catalog the process of privatization of public schools that we've seen here in the last 6-7 years and in Indiana. And although you didn't mention it, Ann, that also leads into what's going on currently. Next Monday, as some of you know, will be the one-day special session of the Indiana legislature, and that will include House Bill 1315, which will essentially, in my mind, privatize Muncie Community Schools because they will no longer have an elected school board, and will also almost privatize Gary Community Schools because they will no longer have a school board, period. They will have an advisory board. There's still time for you to write your representatives and senator about House Bill 1315. So that's all I have.
Move for adjournment.
I figured. Okay, thanks, Steve. Thanks, everyone. All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. The microphone is open if anyone would care to